Down, bow. Jeff ain't made the song yet. Hey, 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 hey. Oh yeah. What's goody footy fans? It's your boy Big John, and welcome to a bonus episode of We Say Soccer, a special World Cup qualifying episode. We're going to get you ready for these World Cup qualifiers coming up, and specifically talk about the three matches the U.S. men's national team have coming up against El Salvador, Canada, and Honduras. So, Jibbs, how are you, man?
Good. Recording a little bit later. For two different reasons. I did have a hockey game, hat trick, beat the defending champs, but also nothing for our squad, nothing unexpected happened in the transfer world. So, hey, I don't mind it though. I mean, I would have loved to have a CDMT United, but let's have some fun. Let's talk some international footy. Let's make this break not a break and watch our boys get in the mix along with some non-USA betting.
Exactly. You know, we're always coming through with the bets. And speaking of international breaks, our boy Jeff is on an international break. So he will be back. We're not going to have an episode coming out that Labor Day weekend, that Monday, Tuesday. We're not going to have one then. But we will have your Match Week 4 preview coming out before the Match Week 4 and the hopeful re-debut of the one and only Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, we'll be there for you for that.
Yep.
So stay tuned. Jibbs?
Not only that, but if this next 10 days is awesome in the international world, I imagine that first 15 minutes sans Ronaldo and that hype that we're going to bring could be awesome. Just almost a mini recap on what we've got ahead of us the next week, 7 to 10 days, you know, if not a little bit longer. You know, we've got 3 USA matches. I think it's pretty much the norm, no matter if you're in the Americas, Europe, Africa, or Asia for World Cup qualifying, that you'll have 3 matches in the next, you know, some are 10 to 15 days. So I'm sure we'll have some nice recaps there, especially if a big country goes down, if USA balls out, if somebody else in the Americas step up. Like, I don't know, does Argentina look soft after a long summer? Does Brazil, you know, getting all the way to the finals against Argentina, but then they also won the Olympics as the U23s, you know, there's going to be a lot to talk about at our next EPL heavy touching on international episode. So we'll see you guys in 10 days, a week, whatever it may be.
About that. Yeah. So we do have some matches we want to talk about first before we do get into Team USA. A couple we already talked about last episode. We have Denmark versus Scotland. Jibbs went against his blood here. He's saying, look at that minus 230 for Denmark. We also mentioned the win cast with Kasper Dolberg or Paulson. Again, maybe wait till game time. We're trying to get this pod out early tomorrow. So if we can, this might be out before game time, but we did mention this last pod as well. Try to look at that starting lineup, see who that starting 9 is, and maybe do a win cast if you're on FanDuel to get a little bit better odds on that. Jibbs, anything else you want to add to this before we
you want to start in Europe, or you want to bring out Africa and Asia real quick? Because I know we find those a little bit tougher for us because the eyeball.
Well, let's do what do you have anything Wednesday that you want to get out first? Let's cover Wednesday and then we'll jump in your Asian and Africa because I know you have that Africa parlay.
So in case this is had early enough, I only have one game before 2:45 New York time, Wednesday, September 1st. So hopefully it is. A couple games I'm looking at 10 a.m. is Ukraine against Kazakhstan, minus 220. Don't love that, but hey, that's one of those. Can you pay for your parlays, risk the 22 to win 10 if you're a $10 unit better? That's what I'm looking at. And then running it down, Israel against Faroe Islands, minus 210. That should probably be bigger. I know Faroe Islands in the last year has gotten a couple of draws. For some reason, I want to say they drew with like Greece or something like that. But, you know, when you're talking international soccer, you're talking about that country. And think about some of the ups and downs in the political world, in the governmental world, like countries like Greece and their economy. And, you know, some of these countries, how they've been affected by natural weather events and times of war. These are real life people and these are their countries now. So there is that aspect that you got to think about. But a couple of matches. So Israel, I would do the minus 210 over Faroe Islands. I am going a plus money match, and I'm doing pretty well on that on random picks, is Croatia versus Russia. I know everybody keeps saying the Croats are old, but until Tom Brady doesn't stop balling out in the NFL, until LeBron starts sucking in the NBA, until Crosby and Ovechkin retire from the NHL, I'm applying that to soccer. The Croats aren't old until their play says they are. They're playing Russia, could be decent, but they don't have our old FIFA goaltender in there anymore. Akinfeev, I believe his name was. Yeah. And but they're plus 160. I am going to take that. I don't know the number on it, but I imagine drawing a bet would be around plus 105, minus 105, minus 115, somewhere around there. If it's plus 160,
probably 105.
Yeah, somewhere right around there. So I'll probably take that both ways. Split a unit, 5 and 5. France versus, and the rest just to fill out a parlay if you're feeling froggy. France versus Bosnia, minus 650. Not astronomical. Probably should be minus 1,200, to be honest, with some of the ways we've seen good teams start hot in qualifying before they have to play their rivals from an international standpoint, before they have to play their club teammates that are from another country, things like that. So minus 650.
Yeah, they want to get those points early so they don't have to, they can cruise to the finish line.
Yep. And then you have Turkey versus Montenegro. I know Montenegro has some athletes kind of like a Croatia does, a smaller Croatia. I believe, if I'm recalling right, a very similar style of play, kind of blending that old Eastern Bloc, you know, Soviet Union countries and that style of play. So, but I would lay the minus 210 on Turkey because they have some ballers. Portugal's also minus 650. It hurts me here too, but they're playing Ireland. Pretty much all my other blood, but I'm pretty much English, Scottish, Irish, and Viking, Scandinavian. So it is a bummer to bet against them. And then we mentioned it the other day. I know they've got the Irish soul, but I'm still rocking with the Dutch. Minus 135, 2:45 game tomorrow, New York time, or today, because we'll be listening to it today. I'm still going with that. So both teams to score, maybe do a little SGP. Only a
I believe too. I believe too that Netherlands-Norway game might actually be on ESPN proper too. I think I saw a commercial for it today. Ooh. So yeah, something to look forward to. Okay,
if you still have cable.
Yeah, or it's probably gonna be on ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
also.
it will be. Yeah.
Most of these games are on ESPN Plus as well. Some of the American ones, but the European ones a lot of it is on ESPN Plus. So cool. That's our Wednesday Jibbs.
Well,
if you
I
wanted
ranted
to stop
there. Did you have anything to comment on Wednesday Europe?
No, my big one really on Wednesday was that Netherlands match. You talking about minus 135. I think the Dutch are coming strong. They did have a pretty decent. Van Dijk being back is going to help them a lot. Memphis is playing really well too, so I think they're going to play good. And De Jong, Van der Beek, they all play better at an international stage since they're all from the Ajax youth team. So I don't think Donnie will probably start, but he'll probably be on.
I wonder if he has something to play for the next couple of weeks though, because there was rumors they were going to leave him off the squad because he wasn't getting burned with United. So
yeah, we'll see. Hopefully he shows out. They did say something about him being promised some minutes. Yeah. So cool. So that's our Wednesday. Like we said, we are going to try to get this pod out, if we can before these games, but if not, just listen to these picks and know that we picked them because you saw Jibbs last week go 8-1. So Jibbs, let's make a little, where in the world is Jibbs San Diego? Let's stop in Asia first. You want to go Asia? You want to go Africa?
Just because there's 2 Wednesday games here, and as the caveat, just in case we are out in time, let's go to Africa.
Let's do it.
Starting a parlay off, I'm not going to lay the money on this, but Senegal at minus 390 versus Togo. But the next one, I will lay this, and this is one where I'm even thinking like, do I put like 48 to win 20 and do a double unit? Is Egypt versus Angola? Like
Mo money.
Miss you, Jeff. So those are the 2 Wednesday matches. The Egypt game is 3 p.m. New York time, East Coast America. So that'll be a nice one to sit down, maybe find a stream somewhere on your legal platforms while the Netherlands-Norway game is on. And then just kind of running through Madagascar, a small country, playing a smaller country in Benin.
They do like the party though.
Yeah, they're plus 120.
And they like to move it.
They love to move it. South Africa versus Zimbabwe. I'm really curious on this one. Did South Africa get old on us compared to when they were hosting the World Cup? I don't know. But plus 135. Nigeria, I threw in the parlay at my
Sorry, Zimbabwe.
Sorry, Za. Cameroon minus 360, Tunisia minus 550, and Ghana minus 650 rounds out that total parlay. But with the South Africa odds and a couple of and Madagascar both being positive, and maybe Egypt being a little leaner than I thought, that's still a half unit $10 better, $5. Total payout is $92.50, so you profit $87.50. Not terrible for making handicapping a couple picks and then tacking on the big boys to beat the smaller population.
To do what they should do.
Yeah, pretty much. Like
100%.
Buy the book, do it. Anything in Africa for you, brother, besides mo money?
Yeah, no, that's definitely the one I'm going to take straight up. I think what I'm going to do, just stay watching our socials. We'll put out if we have any good bets that we're thinking about, and just stay tuned. I think I might do a intercontinental parlay and see what we can do. Mix it all together. Mr. Worldwide.
You know what? It's not think. Let's each have some fun. Let's do one. We'll put it to our Twitter and Instagram. What do you want to call it? Should we cap it at a number, like 12 or 15 legs or something crazy?
Let's do 12.
So a 12-leg parlay.
Oh, no. We should do 13, call it the Baker's dozen.
Should we do 3 games from each of the 4 qualifying regions? Or do you just want to say just 12? As long as you got it, you got it.
Yeah, just 12, because I don't like the Americas too much. To be real, the Americas is kind of weak for me.
I know it, and on the same token, and we're about to go there, I always get nervous the first matches in the Asia bracket because the Middle Eastern teams, you just don't know.
And see, that's what gets me with the Americas is just there's so many teams that's so much parity that I'm like, if it's not the boys, I don't think I'm backing them. You know,
that's fair.
And Mexico.
Right. We'll put a beer on it. Whoever hits the most legs, or if one of us wins, whew.
Yeah, exactly. Then we got
that guy's buying the beers.
Yeah, the beers on you.
I'll bring the beers.
And I'll bring the beers. All right, so what you got in Asia, Jibbs?
First, I do have a bet that will be out in plenty of time. I am surprised at this line because I think they play enough European football, even though they're trying to grow their own country league. I think Australia minus 155.
Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi. Versus China is a steal at minus 155.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one. I know I said that with a couple EPL over-unders this past weekend, but
yeah, thanks,
again, it feels like cheating. Or Brighton, Darlings.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one just feels a little bit like cheating, and I'm taking that. I'm going to take that one quite heavy because I do like the Australian team. They always seem to have kind of USA-esque, that senior forward who has something to play for.
I think Chris Wood just scored for Burnley this weekend. I'm pretty sure he's their starting striker.
Still.
I believe so. So he's in form.
This could be his maybe last go around. To be honest.
Oh, no, New Zealand. Just kidding.
Oh, well, close enough.
Hey, yeah.
who's New Zealand play? We'll have to
Kiwi,
check that.
Kiwi.
So if you want to
Oi,
know,
oi, oi.
if you want to know the truth, I think a lot of these games instead of Wednesday, Thursday are Thursday, Friday, much like the Americas are. If I have that
Mhm.
right, that's
Yeah.
really the only one that immediately I'm looking at. So make sure you're following us on Twitter to get those other games we
Oh, it's
may
Thursday,
play.
Tuesday, actually, Jibbs. I just looked
That's
at
the
that.
weird
Thursday,
thing.
Tuesday.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So make sure you follow us on Twitter to get an update there. That's the only game I love, but I will probably post something else. Probably have an Asia play.
Yeah,
Probably,
something in that Asia too I like is the sun will come out on Thursday with South Korea at -30 to 30. So
I
I'll
like
take
it.
South Korea minus Iraq or at versus Iraq, excuse me, at -230. Iraq is a +700 dog. So Sun's hot, 2 goals, 3 games. I'll take my man Sonny with that. And I'm with you on that Aussie, oi, oi,
Yep.
oi. So let's get it. Let's move on to Europe if you're down. Let's take the plane, hop on there. Let's get our passport out.
Yeah, again, it's just be careful. Like, don't make an uncomfortable bet because you see crazy odds. Don't risk that 65 to win 10 if you can't afford it.
And
If
if you can afford it, there's
but
no
if you
point.
believe it,
There's other good bets.
if you're laundering money and you believe in it and you got the guap, go ahead. But yeah, it gets risky. Don't overdo yourself. Don't lose your bank for the rest of the qualifying or before we get back to EPL because I'm feeling a hot streak coming.
And that's something to look at. Watch for these like Belgium at -1,000. There's no need to throw them in a parlay. The juice isn't worth the squeeze on that when you're not gaining that much in your parlay. And if they so happen to draw, then that's where you're going to lose your buck. Same thing we say in those domestic leagues when you see PSG or Bayern at these crazy odds. Yeah. There's no point in adding them on there. It's just going to ruin your day if for some reason they give up a pin, they give up anything like that. So just watch that. And
especially in the first half, if they're down to me on the rest of the way and they give up that PK goal from a red card,
best you're going to see maybe is a draw out of that most of the time. So
exactly,
and it's just not worth it. Like, and that loses your whole parlay, and that could be your one loss out of 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, if you're feeling irresponsible, make sure you talk to 1-800-GAMBLER on that note. The best bet is the one, like you said, the one you can make. But kind of tactically, if I can almost not go against that, but I'd rather leave that match off and put $5 more on this parlay to get to that payout I want. Instead of adding that aggressive 8th leg when I already got 7 in, that 5th leg when I've already got 4 in. If you got 10 on the parlay, make it a 15. And I think a lot of people forget that sometimes your unit isn't always your unit. You can go half, you can go down.
And even
you're a $10 better, go to 5, go to 15 when you're feeling good, and leave that extra BS leg off.
Yeah, and do what we do sometimes when we talk about it, where we just try to get to that even number that looks good on your bankroll. If you're at, say, 77.72, then hey, bet $7.72 on something, or bet $12.72. Exactly. Like, you can do that. You can break your units. It's okay to not bet the same unit on everything or exactly half units and stuff. Like,
everybody always talks systems in this game, but remember, it's about having fun, adding a little element to watching these games. And yeah, we get serious about it. We love this game, and that makes the betting more fun. Same thing with us with hockey, but we still we know why we're here. This isn't paying our bills, guys.
No,
so,
yeah. Even if you win 60% of the time, you're the greatest ever. Like,
yeah, this is the beer money. So just remember that. All right, little caveat we went on there, but I think it's always important to rehash that when you have a betting heavy episode. So
100%.
Agree with everything you said, brother.
All right, cool. Let's get into some of these games in Europe. Let's start off.
So many.
With I was gonna say one I'm liking, because you were definitely covering the other countries. Your passport's a little more stamped than mine was. I'm gonna start off with our boys from England. They're going against Hungary. Hungary is a +700 dog. England's at -240, but that's not why I'm looking at it.
What day?
Yes, you can. That one's gonna be Thursday, 2:45 New York, U.S. East Coast time.
Gotcha.
I believe because this one is a European game, it should be on ESPN Plus. But what I'm looking at is for our boy Ari to go ahead, get off the snide, get him an international goal. He's if you take Kane and an England W within 90, you get it at plus 120. I think that's good odds for a Euro semifinalist going up with the team in Hungary, who does have Sofosoloy.
You were talking Kane?
Yeah,
Because
not
I like
Maguire.
Harry Maguire gets international goals too, baby.
He does. I don't know what those
I
odds
might
are.
throw a
But
buck on him to score.
that's a good.
He's the set piece king with England. Let's go. Corner king, I should say. Not
Yeah,
so
and
much
Hungary
all
does
the
have
set piece.
like a good young midfielder, Sofosoloy from RB Leipzig. FIFA Wonder Kid, if you do want to go pick him up. But that's what I'm looking for Thursday. I'm also looking at the same time frame, that 2:45 New York Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Sweden versus Spain, another matchup of two teams that did pretty well at the Euros. Spain, though, you're getting them at minus 135, like what Jibbs talked about a little earlier with some of those other teams. This isn't a big team against a super small team, but this is one of those games where I think you are getting a great value on a very good team in Spain, coming off a good Olympics. They did get that silver medal, but they showed that they can play with the young players, and I think they're in a good transitional phase going away from some of those older players and some of their golden generation into this young Pedri and players and such like that. So, Jibbs, anything on Thursday you got?
On Thursday, you're making me read ahead because I was still on Wednesday a little bit. Where was I? Because we already discussed that. I don't know why I still have my Thursday pulled up. There was, there it is. Boom. There is one match. Just, little guys just happen to be the defending Euro champions. They are playing Bulgaria. I think this is a drubbing. And know how you take a team that is minus 1150 and have some odds in your favor, Big Juan. You take the over 3.5 at plus 138.
Ooh,
That is
this might be.
That's my favorite pick because I see this as 4-0, 5-0, 5-1, 6-0, 6-1. I just don't see how, with their international form, they don't just go out and have a message to say, we are actually here. It wasn't a step up in a weird semi-still COVID Euro tournament. We are coming for that World Cup. So I like that. Plus 138 over 3.5 for Italy, Bulgaria. That's my main Thursday pick.
I was going to say, too, with that, that's something maybe to look at the SGP, that same game parlay. You can put things together. If you're not familiar with the same game parlay, it's what we take sometimes, especially on EPL weekends where we see it's going to be probably a top 4, top 6 team going against one of those lower level teams, Norwich, Crystal Palace, things like that, even though Crystal Palace been playing pretty decent, getting draws. Yeah. But
holler at us on Twitter for that, especially, too, because there's not SGPs available on FanDuel yet for any of these. Including some of the matches tomorrow. So I don't know if that's a FanDuel thing. I don't know if they're getting ready for it. Maybe it's like after the MLB is done tonight. So midnight, Wednesday in an hour and a half, September 1st, right at the strike of midnight, those will be available. We don't know.
And if not, maybe a win-cast is something to look at in there too, because I did see some win-casts as we talked about with that England game. They will be available too.
For sure.
Anything else Thursday you were looking at there, Jibbs, in Europe?
Nothing. I want to do more research, and if the SGPs were available, I would look at this much, much deeper. There's some nice middling squads. Like one matchup I do see, Armenia is not very good at football at all. North Macedonia is favored minus 115 in that one.
Yeah, I did see that one too.
And then
Poland minus 210, something I like too, with Lewandowski up top. I know 210's a little high, but maybe a little parlay.
I have one
filler in that one.
And then my last one, I did have a star next to this on my screenshot. I know Sweden's been balling out and they keep trying to break through. I just don't know if Spain is quite ready to lose to a team like that. Again, I'm probably going to side with Spain like I did Croatia. They're not old until it happens on the pitch.
Yeah,
So
and that's what I
at
think. I
minus
think they're
135, I gotta go Spain's way and take that. A single unit, not get crazy. Definitely a lovely little one for a parlay builder. But
yeah, and I'm
I
definitely on that one too. That's what I was saying earlier. I think that transition, like you said, they're not old yet, and they do have a nice young crop coming through to back up that golden generation. So I think that Spain match is something to look at. Iceland, if you're feeling a little fishy against Romania, that one might be just one fun, just so you can for Iceland, because Iceland's always fun to root on. But don't be a degenerate, folks.
yeah.
All right, and then in
Thunderclap is
Europe,
dope as
it is.
F.
It is. So then for Europe, it is going to go Thursday, Saturday. Some key matches on Saturday. Also, there's some ones on Sunday that we were looking at. Saturday, Jibbs, what you think? And I know I'm looking at that Ukraine and France. We talked about France a little bit earlier. We
Yes.
just think this is another one. Ukraine, yes, they were in those Euros. They do have Zinchenko and players like that, but France is still one of those top teams in the world, still has the powers, still has Pogba, Conte, Griezmann just went over to Atletico today on deadline day. So I just think getting France at 160 is, again, like getting that Egypt at that good price too. And something to look at, if you can look at that win cash, you'll probably get plus money if you want to, again, wait for the lineup decision, see who's starting up top. It's probably going to be Mbappe. So maybe Mbappe to score in France and win is not a bad choice. But again, I always like waiting for those lineups to come out and see the win cash. You're not really going to change the odds too much once the lineup comes out. So it should be good. Jibbs, I do have one other match in this that I think we're both on.
You're gonna say it. I know it.
No. Yeah, no, go ahead. It's the one we talked about pre-show. So go ahead.
Mine's gonna be a parlay, so you go for it.
Okay, well, I'm thinking the Croatia at plus 100. I know Jibbs talked about Croatia and Russia earlier, so I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit again. I think they do have the Modric. They do got Rakitic. They're going to be good. Kovacic as well, European champion with Chelsea. So, yeah, if you see an itch that's not a Matic, he's either Serbian or Croatian most of the time. So, yeah, plus 230 on the draw. Slovakia is the plus 280 dogs. I just think, again, Croatia is going to be the better team here. And with some of these European qualifiers, especially the first and second games in these qualifiers, in these groups, I think you want to go with those more veteran teams. And those teams have been playing together well in these major tournaments.
Offhand, a quick one that I love is Croatia plus 100, France minus 160. You just touched on those beautifully. So I'm going to ask forgiveness of my ancestors for the slander of the Irish earlier. I am going to throw in a 3-team parlay with those other two matches, France, Croatia, adding Republic of Ireland against Azerbaijan at minus 160. That 3-leg parlay is plus 428. So a $10 better would return $52.80 on a $42.80 profit. I think that's a nice little one that builds the bank to do your single units. Again, for a $10 better, that's the percentages we're using on this show. It builds the bank for the rest of the qualifiers. That's a good look. If that picks you up 4 1-unit matches, and I really think that's a great bet. Aside from that, the profit is for 1-unit bets, so I'm all in on that. So
yeah, 100%. I do like that parlay,
cousins in
especially
Ireland. Don't let me down.
Yeah, it's two of my picks too. So I'm going to be hopping on that. I'll be telling that one as well. So let's shake and bake on that one. Sunday then. Let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, here we go. How do you shake and bake on it? You shake and bake.
You're opposite. We just did that on the outside of the screen.
Yeah. On my screen. Oh, great. So on my screen, it's the other way. Yeah, that way. There we go.
Yep.
All right, so Sunday, I'll let you start this one off unless you do have parlays, because I do have a couple straights that you might actually be throwing in parlays, because it is 2 teams that we have talked about before.
Nothing crazy.
Games.
I have one, and it's going to be the heartfelt pick because of how much we loved the thunderclap last time. Iceland plus 125, Sunday at noon, New York time. Belgium minus 290 is a nice little
parlay filler.
piece.
I like that too.
Yeah, not straight. Let's not get crazy. And again, Denmark versus Israel should not be minus 440. It should be minus 750. It should be a big one. Take Denmark, parlay filler. And then the other two, I'm going to put these two together alone. And if we crushed it the other days, I'm going to put like 4 units on it. Again, responsibly. But I'm going to put Italy plus 100, England minus 125 together. Just
we'll call that the Euro finalist parlay.
Yeah,
that's exactly the two games I was talking about.
Yeah.
Plus 100 for the champions, minus 125 for the runners-up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's Lewandowski. Yes, there's Shaqiri. It's okay. I think both of those teams can get it done. So that's definitely
they don't have Jorginho and Sancho.
Exactly. So that's a little Sunday. Get you a little bit of bankroll for that Labor Day barbecue. You can go ahead and buy the fancier hot dogs instead of the Piggly Wiggly ones. Even though those are bomb as fuck.
I love Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the worst slander ever.
Miss UNC.
Hot dogs. Yeah. Thank you, pigs. Sorry, H2. But yeah, all right. So I think that covers most of our betting. In this next segment, we are going to talk about Team USA, which I think all of you should know by now. We're not going to cover too much of the bets because we're betting on the boys.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. Stay tuned if the SGPs do become available. Stay tuned to our socials. Again, Twitter is the best way to get in touch with us. You can DM us. Our DMs are open. Send us a follow. Send us a mention. We'll be there. That is 100%. So this one, like we said, USA in this first match, we are going to mention the odds, but we're not going to dive too far in depth into the bets because, again, we're betting USA. It's simple as that. It's not hard. It's USA all the way, as Gordon Bombay would say. Didn't mean to rhyme that much, but well, let's get into it.
We're just on a Mr. Deeds kick, apparently.
Exactly. Let's talk about these rosters, Jibbs. What do you think about Team USA's roster? I know we got some bad news today. Tim Weah is going to be out with an injury. He was on the squad, but I think it's a slight muscle knock. Going to pull him off. So nothing too serious. But the Lille man will be going back to France and not be joining his U.S. teammates.
That is a bummer. He was going to be. We talked about it pre-show. He would have been my man to watch because, think about who his father is. Think about not only his football prowess, but he's a political juggernaut now. He's in a pivot country in the world for trade and different things like that and different political climates. So much pressure on him. I think he would have loved this opportunity with the opponents we have to go out, ball out, get some starts. And he's still so young. Tim Weah, get better soon. We can't wait to watch him in the World Cup, boy.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, I think the goalkeepers is definitely something to touch on, as we talked about before. Shouldn't have lost in 1776 because we make way better keepers than y'all do, England. But Ethan Horvath, Zach Steffen, Matt Turner. Like we said before, I definitely think Zach Steffen. So I was just about to say these are in ABC order. So the way they're listed is not necessarily the starters because obviously Pulisic is down near the bottom, and him and Gio Reyna are both probably definitely first on the team sheet. But I think Zach Steffen, the Man City backup, I think he's had a good year. Matt Turner did have a really, really good Gold Cup, but I think, again, as we talked about, that was our B team. That was maybe our A- team. So when the big boys come back, that is a European top 5 goalkeeper. Yeah. Even if it is a backup, he is a backup to one of the top 3 keepers in the EPL, arguably. So I do think, that's going to be a good matchup. But if Zach Steffen does do anything bad, I think that we will have Matt Turner step in. Yeah. I think he's ahead of Horvath for sure, but I do like the depth, like the
experience. Horvath,
exactly.
We have a third keeper with experience. Not many countries have that, and I hope that relishes with USA fans, with fans of other countries that are wondering what they're doing over there in America. Yeah. We're producing quality keepers like we always do, but our third keeper has gotten minutes and has played internationally, whether it's against B teams, C teams, whatever. He's done his job. And again, we both think it's Steffen. Right there with you, bro. He could bring us to that next level. He has that talent.
100%. Let's go through the defenders. A couple of names we're looking at. Serginho Dest, obviously Barcelona, nice right back. I know your boy's in there. Old D Yelds. Yeah, my man D
Yedlin, fastest
So
man alive, but
we got that. And actually Tim Ream is the oldest player on this. I think there's only 3 above 28, I want to say, on the squad.
Brooks? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah,
I actually thought I just assumed Brooks was the oldest.
And speaking of Brooks, that was the next name I was going to bring up. Hero from that Ghana match we scored, I believe, the 86th in the World Cup a while back. He's there. Wolfsburg just got JB a little bit of money last week.
And he was slagging.
So, exactly. Not that
over
bad.
a defender.
And another player I like, I actually like Walker Zimmerman, too. Walker Zimmerman plays really well, I think. So, that's a name to look for. Anybody in the midfield, Jibbs, they really looking at other than Weston McKennie, because
real quick defensively.
I
am looking at either Zimmerman or Miles Robinson to start next to John Brooks, and that would be our new tower pieces in the middle. So I'm really curious to see the deployment there. We're the U.S. No matter what coach we have, we're going to play 4 on the back. We never try to do that 3 with our wing backs. We never. Again, I'm a Yedlin fanboy. I wish we would have tried that in the past, but we are going to play 4 across, kind of boring English-style football from that aspect, and won't be boring up front. But I am looking at either Zimmerman or Miles Robinson to be Brooks' partners. There is Anthony Robinson is also a defender on the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, and he's more of a fullback.
Yeah, exactly. So I am looking, and I would say it would be Miles Robinson. I know you're watching Zimmerman from some of the things that we're seeing out there, and we'll retweet a few of the U.S. men's national team supporting accounts, but also reporting accounts.
100%.
I'm thinking it starts with Miles Robinson next to Brooks Thursday night.
Cool. Well, I'm definitely liking Kellen Acosta. I think he had a really great Gold Cup. Speaking on midfielders that we're going to, and I think it's just going to be really good. Him, Wes McKennie, nothing really needs to be said.
Baller,
exactly. And your boy, the one that you think's a little too let get to quit.
Too let get to quit. He had a great summer. I am admittedly not the biggest Acosta fan. I don't know if it's because I associate him with being on those bad memory and missing the last World Cup teams. And it's funny because I love John Brooks, but that was to no fault of his own in my eyes, apparently. I don't know what it is, but I do want to see these midfielders perform without, and maybe this is what it is, without having to bring Acosta in and settle down the freaking game. I want to see Roldan, McKennie, do the thing, not necessarily needing Acosta in there. Don't get me wrong. Acosta's probably going to play every minute of the next 3 matches because he's that important pivot, that anchor piece, plays in every big tournament. He was there for the heartbreaks, and maybe that's why I'm down on him a little bit at times. He did have a good summer. Props to you, Kellen. But I would love if we do have the chance, say we're up 2-0 at halftime. Give Acosta a blow. Let's see what these 3 kids can do together without him and see if we can be formidable and almost game-changing and just see how they run together too. So that's a little bit for me there. That's my
100%
piece. I mean, Weston McKennie.
I was gonna say Tyler Adams. Yeah, Tyler Adams is probably mine. But Weston McKennie, there's nothing needs to be said. He had some rumors going on this transfer deadline day. He is staying in Juventus in Turin. But mine, actually, my player to watch in the midfield is going to be Tyler Adams. I think from RB Leipzig. He's a little unheralded, but he can play in a multitude of positions, and that's why I think he's important for us, because if we do need someone where we need to bring a piece in at halftime, bring a piece in at 60 minutes, he can be one of those guys that moves around to a different locations to bring in that exact piece that we need. If it is Kellen Acosta not starting, bring him in to hold it down, then move Tyler Adams a bit forward. If a fullback gets hurt, bring him in. He can cover right back position as well,
which is
and
so
he can do
funny.
that holding midfielder spot and still push forward.
It's so funny. I know he was rumored. I didn't catch. Can't remember who it was. I know I caught it. He was rumored to come to the EPL over the last 4 or 5 days, and no deals materialized. But it's like, so you're telling me this guy that can press forward, do very well in almost a 6-ish at best role, but also is a great CDM, but can play outside on the right back role, could do that in a pinch? Like, I don't know. Every player we seem to send in the Bundesliga balls out, and he's that next, Swiss Army knife that can kind of apply himself to different situations. And that always comes out for Team USA. I mean, we don't roll on the ground after we get fouled. Dempsey, instead, we get kicked in the face, and Dempsey bangs one home, and for an important draw. Maybe we should roll more, but we don't.
Yeah.
And so having gadgets like that are great, and I'd love to see him in both roles because of our forward group. If this was 10 years ago, I would want him to be a more pressing forward midfielder, but in today's climate, building a team, we hey, wherever we put you at, be our new Bradley, no matter who we're playing, no matter the situation.
Be that engine.
Yeah, be the engine that could.
All right, so let's move on to the forwards. You got Conrad De La Fuente. Aronson has been playing well as well. Pulisic, of course, Captain America, UEFA European champion. What can we say about him? Gio Reyna, off to a hot start. Had a goal. We thought he had that little knock, but he is balling. Took over that number 7 shirt from Jaden and looking good. Speaking of number 7 shirts, if you're watching on YouTube, you saw the winks. We might have dropped a little source knowledge. Yeah, Ronaldo is taking the number 7, Cavani going to 21. So if you didn't hear it anywhere else, you heard it here first. And then also Josh Sargent, we've touched on him in our EPL reviews, scored in the EFL Cup, got in a little bit for Norwich's last game. The old Gingy Ninja. And then but Jibbs, I know you wanted to touch on kind of a big swing, a kid that could have chose to go south of the border, north of the border, and he chose to come to the red, white, and blue, and that's Ricardo Pepi from FC Dallas. What you got on him, Jibbs?
He's one of those guys that came out and said, hey, I love my country. I love where I'm from originally, and that speaking of Mexico, but he also loves being in the U.S. He went to high school here. He played his academy level football here. He really genuinely grew up and appreciates where he's from, but wanted to play, from what I'm understanding, in that USA shirt because of that's what was given to him from a soccer standpoint. He loves Mexico, and there's nothing wrong. I know we're in a big rivalry. I hate when it gets almost bloody and real shitty.
Yeah.
Anything past Dos Acero, anything past some of the chants they sent to us, slightly homophobic, but I even understand the different cultures and its sports. But it's really cool that he chose us because he realized that, well, he is Mexican. He is proud of it. He will never shy away from it. His soccer opportunities came from him living in Texas. So he's a baller. He already has 10 MLS goals, unless I am very much mistaken. I'm not. He had a brace in the Texas Derby. And the kid can play. I'm really excited to see him learn. And I'm actually excited to see him learn behind is Josh Sargent. Because he's going to walk in that locker room. Hey, bro, how's English football? What's that about? Hey, you've been in a couple of these tournaments in the last 3, 4, 5 years. What do you have for me? He's going to be there to absorb all of this, but he is so natural. He will have some kind of minutes in these next 3 matches. I would love, I know we're not to the schedule yet. I would love to see how he approaches an Alphonso Davies from Canada when he has the ball on his foot.
Yeah.
I'm really, really interested to see that.
And what I think too is this, like, it's kind of cool too, because you see with America, our team does really kind of represent us as a whole, because you see we have Mexican Americans, we have German Americans,
Melting pot.
we have Liberian Americans, like we have a bunch of different players. Gio Reyna was born in England, for instance. He could have played in England. Like Christian Pulisic is your kid from Hershey. Like there's a lot of different makeups, and I just think that's super cool because it does highly represent the melting pot that is our country, and it's just pretty awesome that our team represents us as a whole. And I think Ricardo Pepi is showing that with the Mexican American. Like, yes, he was Mexican born, but he was American raised, and it just shows that, like, hey, even if you're a Mexican American out there, we're here for you too. Like, we got you. Like,
well,
it's pretty cool.
It's like we said, and two really quick points to make. Christian Ochoa left our program to go to Mexico.
Yeah.
Probably a smart move for him. And I'm not going to hate the guy because the keepers he's behind, you know, you can almost call him 3A3B with Horvath. But Horvath, we just talked about it, brought all that experience that Ochoa is not probably getting in front. So Christian Ochoa, ball out down there, son. Just not against the United States.
Not against the US.
And then the other thing that I really liked is our manager came out and said, it's not as recruiting as you would think. A lot of these players already know. They just want to hear you and hear what your goals are, your plans are. And that's where a lot of the media will confuse it for recruiting. It's not.
And I think that's because of Klinsmann.
Yeah.
I think the Klinsmann era was a little bit of recruiting
for
where
sure.
You did see it. Because we did have a little bit of influx, but I'm with you that, and I saw Greg Berhalter say that.
We haven't shut that water flow. It's still that multicultural, multinational influence that I think is very valuable. I mean,
and I think it is a lot of players.
Let's be real. Alabama in college football is England in soccer. I mean, without the championships, but they're the blue bloods. They get their players to their programs, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're that inside out, sometimes hot, sometimes low, almost like an Oregon of the last 20 years in college football. We look flashy, sponsored by Nike, and we ball out. We have athletes. We always have fun. It's going to be when we're up, we're way up. We're winning big. When we're in those tight matches, that's where the stress comes in. Unless we're playing our rivals, and then we beat them dos a cero, kind of like Oregon would upset the USCs of the world.
Yeah, and Stanford's and all
that. Yeah, and so that would be a quick, easy comparison for the non-regular soccer fans. But this is a pivot point in our soccer history. I genuinely believe this 9/10 ranking, wherever you read that we're at in the FIFA World Rankings right now, is not the end. We should be fighting to be in the Final Four of a World Cup. We've got this. We have the athletes. We have the training methods. We have the will. We've always had the will, and that's why we've been top 25 nation in soccer. But now we've got the skill, I think. So let's go.
Let's do it. And cool. I think so. That recaps what we're thinking of the rosters. Let's jump in the games. Jibbs, I know this is the one that you were most worried about, going against number 69th ranked team. Nice. El Salvador, Thursday, September 2nd, 10:05 p.m. And this one is on CBS Sports Network, is what we were seeing. We did think most of the USA games were on Fox Sports 1, but this one is showing it's on CBS Sports Network.
So we will confirm on Twitter.
Yep. Check your local listings, as they used to say back in the 2000s. It's El Salvador plus 500, draw is plus 310. U.S. men's national team is minus 185. Jibbs, I know this is one you said pre-show that you were most worried about. Why is that?
Betting. I'm laying that. Even if it's 1850 for $10. Again, we do not bet against the boys. I'm worried because we don't have the time to make all these horses run together. That's it. It's a short. It wasn't long. I mean, there were matches till Sunday with
Yep.
American players in the EPL, let alone other countries. A short window. I am worried that some of these El Salvadorian players are playing in the same league together. They know each other, staying in the
Less
same
travel.
staying in the same time zone. Thank you very
Yep.
much. Again, and you made a good point there, but mileage almost sometimes isn't the issue. It's the time zones.
Yeah.
So that's my concern, let alone what's to come after that. We will touch on it, but we need a hot start. And if Pulisic wasn't coming off the COVID issue and he had been with how Chelsea's been playing, getting regular minutes with them in the first 3 matches, I think he would have Supermaned us enough to make this a moot point. But that all is almost like the perfect, snowball into a snow boulder to
100%.
almost let's not let our guard down. With that said, their coaches are telling them the same thing. I fully expect them to come out flying, natural energy. If you are feeling underprepared, just like let your natural skill and talent take over and ball out.
Put that biscuit in the basket.
Bang.
Speaking of biscuits and baskets, we beat their ass in juniors in hockey. We
Hey.
can beat their ass in soccer. USA versus Canada, Sunday, September 5th, 8 p.m. This one is on Fox Sports 1. It's a Sunday night, big time show before Labor Day.
Mhm.
Jibbs, I think we got this one. USA at
Yeah.
minus 180, draws plus 280, minus 180, draws plus 280, and Canada's plus 500. They do got some players on Canada. I know you wanted to talk about one of those.
So, well, and you do too, and this is why this is going to be fun. We're going to win this game. We step up against rivals. There's only 3 countries in North America, so there's only 2 natural rivals. Even if they're down in the rankings, they are a good team. They play together, but they have 2 studs. Alphonso Davies is a flippin' baller. He's won a Champions League already. He's probably the best wing back in the world, which hurts because me and Big John are fanboys of Luke Shaw.
No.
I would say Alphonso is just ahead of him if you put their Alphonso Davies Champions League run and Luke Shaw's Euro League run. Barely Alphonso Davies ahead of him, and youth plays a factor in that. So we got to watch him, and we have the athletes to do that now. One man won't beat Team USA, but like you said, there's a second. What was your thoughts for Canada's guy?
That's Jonathan David. I'm a little weary of the striker. Jonathan David can put him in. He's a young star for Canada, and they do have those 2 stars with Jonathan David up top and Alphonso Davies coming down the left wing. He can also push forward very well, as you said. He is a very good wing back for Bayern. You see him; they didn't give a crap about losing Alaba, even though Alaba was playing more centrally than left back, because the reason they could do that was because they had Alphonso Davies on that left side, so that was able to push Alaba in, and then later on let Alaba go to Real Madrid. But we're both on that one. We do think USA, as we said, do step up very well against our rivals.
So do you agree that our midfielders, we talked about at legit, we talked about Kellen Acosta, that's the game they have to own. That won't be the defenders getting the ball and counterbacking to the forwards. That's the one where, because of that gap from Davies up to the forward unit for Canada, that's the one where we really got to take advantage from the central positions.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think this would be a good one too with that Jonathan David. I think this is a good to see Miles Robinson get in there with his speed. I know Brooks is more of a stopper. Miles Robinson's more of a
sweeper,
a cover guy. Yeah, sweeper, cover, but covers almost like Varane does for us with Maguire, where Maguire will push forward onto it. The Rio, he's the Rio to the Vidic.
Love it.
But so I do think our defense and our midfield is going to have to step up because of those overlapping runs from Davis into Jonathan David, who can't put him in with either foot. He is one of those 4 to 5 star weak footers on FIFA. Speaking of, we'll take a quick little break from the international. We are talking about a giveaway. FIFA.
Hold on, you want to do that before Honduras?
Oh, I was because we just thought about FIFA. That's the only reason it was a sub.
Let's do it.
But so shameless plug. We are thinking again. We haven't thought of the follower count we get to, but probably of our first 100, first 50, we will see where we get to. In our followers, we're thinking about giving away a FIFA. So keep subscribing, keep listening, keep interacting with us, and definitely we'll see. With again, you'll get those chances. We'll put out a tweet to get more details once we get a little bit closer, but we are close to that giveaway soon.
I'm feeling like the USA Santa Claus. So here's what we're going to do, John.
What's up?
For every 100 followers, it's September 1st when this episode comes out. FIFA. Yeah. Oh, wait. Is that October 1st coming out?
I believe so.
For every 100 followers we have, we will give away one digital copy.
Console of your choice.
Console of your choice.
And if you're good enough, you can play on our Pro Clubs team.
On PlayStation 4.
Yeah, if you're on PlayStation.
But that's PS4, PS5, Xbox, whatever it is nowadays, Xbox One. So, yeah, for every 100, JB will guarantee we are giving away one digital copy. If we hit 500 the next month, that's 5 copies to go. If we hit 50 in the next month, that's half of a game to go.
Oh, you get last year's version. You get FIFA 21.
I'll send you my PS3 with FIFA 13. Great year. But yeah, show the love.
I'm gonna rig that because I want to play in Zimbabwe,
which I also have. No, but that's what we're gonna do, John. F it. We're not gonna leave it up to discussion. We're gonna post that tomorrow when this pod goes out. Give away every 100 followers. We are giving away a copy. This is on Twitter, but the winner must also be subscribed to us on either Spotify or Anchor. You want to throw YouTube in it?
Yeah.
We're
and YouTube.
We'll do YouTube, though.
Yeah. Pod, YouTube, and Spotify.
Yeah.
Or Pod, YouTube, Twitter. You follow those 3, you're qualified for it. Most of you already do. So we appreciate that. But we will release a tweet tomorrow. Make sure you retweet, and we'll give out more details for that. Again,
bang.
Get those followers up, get you a FIFA, and we appreciate the continued support. The episodes lately have been going great, so we do appreciate that.
And kits to come.
Always. And kits at Christmas. Oh, it's the Christmas
Boxing Day over there.
Yeah. Because shipping will take that long anyway. So kits at Christmas, be on the lookout for that too. Again, we want to be with our fans. So follow us on Twitter, interact with us. We're always there. And we're just trying to be closer to y'all. So we brought up FIFA. We wanted to make sure we did talk about that. So we want to mention that. So if you listen to the whole episode, you'll know it. That's why we embedded it in the middle of the episode. So for those listeners that listen to this full episode, be aware. You'll see it. You'll hear it first. Maybe DM us and we'll give you an extra entry if you hear it in this pod before the tweet goes out tomorrow.
There we go. So, John, I know you were worried about making sure we let the fans know we're thinking of them.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the first match. You really kind of stressed Honduras. Even if we start 2-0, this match caught your eye on what does USA need to watch to prevent a bad night.
I think it's just on this one, it was the one that scared me. It seems like Honduras always gives us a good match. They were in the World Cup last time around. This one's at Wednesday, September 8th, 10:05 p.m. It's not listed on TV yet. And unfortunately, we don't have any odds for it on our books yet. But as you know, Honduras does play us really well.
At Honduras, too.
At Honduras.
And
so the field conditions aren't going to be great. We know that that's something you have to deal with in this CONCACAF, where the fields can be a little yellow, a little dirt patchy. But it's something that the U.S. has come over before. But it's just something that scares me, especially if we do start 2-0. Maybe if we have great performances, it could be a let-off game where rolling through saying, hey, these guys are thinking about going back to their European teams, going back to their club teams in MLS and thinking, okay, cool, we can just cruise. It's only Honduras. But in reality, that's the highest ranked team we are playing this weekend, even though Canada does seem like they do have a good team with those named talents that we do know. But I think as a fuller team, Honduras are, like you said earlier with the El Salvadorians, they played together well and for a long time. So they do have that camaraderie that does kind of scare me. So the Honduras game is definitely the one out of these three I think I'm looking at the most. I am with you that I think we do need to get a quick start in that first one, but this Honduras game scares me. What you feeling on this third game, Jay?
No, and that's the concern there too, because actually it's weird. I'll never forget that night where, and this was before the Trinidad and Tobago disaster. I can't remember if we lost. I can't remember the result. We either lost or draw to Honduras, but it was a very dark stadium, low lighting. The TV match quality was not very high, and we straight underperformed. But there was one thing: their fans were lit, and we need to be ready for that. This is a match that we are playing away over there, and again, confirming that time is 10:05 next Wednesday Eastern time. But it's a tough road to hoe. I mean, when you have El Salvador away, Canada at home with the studs we mentioned, and then Honduras away, this is a good test for what to expect.
I think it's a good team
this.
for this young team. Yeah, I think it's good to see if this young team can come together well and gel like they should. This is becoming a nice generation of players, and I think this could be a team that sits together well for the Qatar World Cup, gets into the knockouts, maybe goes a little deep, gets us set up for a nice mental game of how we're going to play, and we know what we need to do to get it done when the thing comes home to the USA in 2026. So I think it's going to be a great showing. As we said,
are you calling through now?
Yeah, I'm thinking
yeah.
Trace E Cero. Yeah, Trace E Cero. Yeah, 3 and 0.
Yeah, let's do it. No, I'm right there with you. The talent. Let's go. Wes McKinney, I know I didn't really shout you out as my player to watch or my favorite player there. But damn, that kid's good.
I think it has to go without being said.
He's our future motor. Like, Pulisic can only do so much at forward. I really look for Wes McKinney to be that guy.
And it's interesting to see what Berhalter goes if he goes with 2 high 8s and a 6, or if he goes with 2 6s and a 10. So we'll see.
Would you rather play wider or more narrow?
I'd rather have like a Costa holding, and then maybe go Adams and McKinney to mess around as the 8, almost like Man City does, where they have Rodri holding, and then they have De Bruyne and Silva. Well, not Silva anymore. Silva left like 10 years ago. Gundogan.
So for the uninformed, would that be wider or more narrow? Just that's what I'm saying. For our novice fans.
So what I'm talking about is how, like Man City run, it would be Wes McKinney you got to think of the midfield as a triangle. So at the triangle, and the triangle is pointing where the top would be facing the goalkeeper. So that'd be one holding midfielder who, in my mind, is Kellyn Acosta, and then you have 2 players in front of him towards the offensive side of the ball, where you would see the Gundogan and De Bruyne play in the Premier League for City, and then that gives you what they call as 8s, which are kind of not so much all creative, but they can do a lot of things in the midfield. They can come back on defense. They can press and go forward a little bit, get to the edge of the box. And I think that's what McKinney and Adams does well with Acosta holding. And then you have your Pulisic and your Reina coming off your wings, maybe with a Sargent up front. Maybe you're going to see Pepe up front. And I think that's the line to go with. Maybe push someone out wide. Maybe put Wes McKinney, Tyler Adams as a wide midfielder, almost like that Pogba player. So they can maybe bring in a roll down or let get into the roll down, or let get into that middle. So that's what I'm either looking for, is to just see if he goes defensive or offensive with that midfield.
I'm very much thinking that upside down triangle. So to get back to like the wide or narrow kind of idea, I think against the countries we are playing, if we go too stretched out too wide, we get beat in athleticism. Don't get me wrong, we got some ballers, we got some athletes, but
Yeah.
there's a different level to when you're playing some of these other CONCACAF countries that you don't see all the time. These other South American, Central American teams that we don't see all the time. So I really like that inverted triangle you were talking about being a little bit more top heavy. And one thing that I would be really looking forward to, I know we didn't get to it, and it's funny when we did the preview for our players to watch, we both passed on them. We always seem to have that next number 9. And then they get older before they're younger, like Dempsey and to Josie Altidore, and even before them, it always seems like when it's that person's youth moment, it doesn't happen. And that's what gives them the experience. Josh Sargent is gonna ball.
Yep. The
I'm not
Ginger
even
Ninja.
I'm throwing like $2 a game on him to score every game. I really think this could be his coming out party after his brace for Norwich in the EFL Cup.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good looks. We got some good World Cup qualifiers coming up. I think we gave you guys some good bets today. As always, either tail us, fade us. As long as you're making money, that's all we care about here. We say soccer. So as Jibbs just showed, cheers, Mike.
Cheers, brother.
It's been a bonus episode of We Say Soccer. Let's go USA, and let's make this money over this time. Peace.